It takes 11 days, the Torah tells us, to get from Mount Sinai to Kadesh Barnea, the Israelite campsite at the edge of the Promised Land. But instead of a week and a half, it has taken the Israelites nearly 40 years. That's some detour. So it's reasonable to wonder about two things. How did we get here? And what took so long? Moses has some explaining to do. It's been thousands of years and 4 books of Torah, but we've arrived. We're on the verge. We're standing on the threshold of God's promise. Except nobody knows it. Other than Moses, Joshua, and Caleb, none of the Israelites who left Egypt are still alive. It's a brand new generation. A generation with no memory of going down to Egypt, no memory of slavery, no memory of the Exodus, no memory of receiving the Torah at Sinai. This generation has no memory of anything other than wandering in the desert. And about that, they probably have some questions. The book of Devarim is mostly one long answer to those questions. First up is a history lesson. And Moses mentions so many nations and so many battles that we have to wonder what makes them so important. Emim, also known as Rephaim, also known as Zamzumim, Anakites and Horites, Geshurites and Maccathites, Sichon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, King Og of Bashan. It's hard to keep track. Moses even throws in the Avim, a people who make their one and only appearance in the Torah right here, and apparently have nothing whatsoever to do with the children of Israel other than to be mentioned by Moses. It isn't especially easy to get our heads around this, especially considering that as far as we know, these nations were more or less minding their own business, or at least fighting only each other, until God brought the Israelites along and cleared their path. So it's an 11-day journey that really doesn't bother anyone and gets straight to the destination, or what we'll call the scenic route, 39 years, 11 months, 1 day, and lots of people in the way. So we need a review. And Devarim invites us to review our relationship to history. In Devarim, the story of the children of Israel begins not with something that happened to us, but something we did. We got up on our own 2 feet, or rather on our 1.2 million feet, give or take. We left Mount Sinai. We began our journey as a people with Torah. To be sure, the first time the Israelites got to the border of the Promised Land, it didn't go so well. After some fearful reports from their advance scouts, the people refused to walk another inch, and then God became angry with them. Some of them ran headlong into battle with Sichon and Bashan. They ended up headless. Thrust from slavery to freedom, the children of Israel lurched from fear to recklessness. They let events drive them instead of taking responsibility for their own future. And it took a few years to get back, but here we are again, at the edge, on the verge, at the threshold. Back then, the cliché that those who forget the lessons of history are doomed to repeat it wasn't yet a cliché. Devarim is Moses' effort to avoid that mistake. He gives the children of Israel ownership of their own history. He reminds us that history by itself isn't what makes us special. The Torah itself makes us special. History is not something that happens to us. History is what we do with what happens to us. Has our ultimate destiny already been predicted? The Torah tells us that God will keep God's promises. But the long and circuitous journey to the Promised Land gives us the time to remind us that the history of our arrival has yet to be written. We have been called to the journey. How we get there is up to us.